so I'm feeling a little restricted. And with the pandemic, it's difficult to impose upon some of the radio club pals to come out and help me get it repaired or replaced. But it'll work. I'll work with it for a while. It's, getting out at all is a pleasure. Getting out on multiple bands is a bonus. Back to you, Mike.
Oh, very good. It sounds really good and doing a great job. So can't argue a thing there. Sounds really, really good. Well, we're just going to call CQ here tonight and see who we can chat with and get a few cues in the log and probably pull the plug here in about 15 minutes and head to bed. So we won't hold it, but we'll say 73s, and thank you very much for the short cue tonight, and we'll look for you again. This is November 9, Delta Delta. We'll send it back to you for a final. KI4JDE, back to you.
November 9, Delta Delta, KI4 JDE. Okay, Mike, very good. And I also should compliment the audio. The audio really sounds great. I don't know what kind of mic you're using, but it's really good audio. Good to chat with you. Enjoyed the QSO. Get some more in the log and then enjoy a good night's sleep. Good to talk with you. 7-3, KI4JDE, and I'm clear.
Very good. Just a quick, it's a PR 781 from Heil. I do have some outboard audio gear hooked in tonight, just using some old studio equipment that I have to just messing around. The Flex really doesn't need the help. It puts out good audio all by itself, but we've had the last several days off, so just played around with that and actually have a setup in there that sounds pretty decent to the ear, and the radio seems to be responding to it, so that's our story right now. So anyway, 73, and have a good evening. November 9, Delta Delta.
November 1, Oscar Alpha.
7-3.
QRZ, anyone, anywhere, November 9, Delta Delta.
November 1, Oscar.
Again, November 9, Delta Delta.
November 1, Oscar Alpha Hotel. N10AH.
Okay, AH, again, AH.
It's November 1, Oscar Alpha Hotel. November 1, Oscar Alpha Hotel.
Okay, November 1, Oscar Alpha Hotel. No, I like it. Name here is Mike, Mexico, India, Kilowatt Echo, and we're located down here just south of Atlanta in the city of Stockbridge, Georgia. You got a good call or a good signal all the way from up there in, looks like Maine. November 1, Oscar Alpha Hotel, November 9, Delta Delta.
November 9, Delta Delta. This is November 1, Oscar Alpha Hotel. Yeah, from all the way from Georgia. Yeah, your signal's really great. You get a 590.
Well, thank you very much. We like to hear that, especially all the way up there in the Northeast. We're running a FlexRadio 6600, a G5RV, about 102 foot long, up about 80 foot, and we're running about 300 watts. So I wonder what you're running there, Noah. Over.
I got a 10 radio with
Very good, very good. All right, well, we won't hold it here any longer than we need to. We'll say 73 and look for you again. This is November 9, Delta Delta. We'll be clear on your final. Check.
Okay, 73, November 9, Delta Delta. This is November 1, Oscar Alpha Hotel. Clear.
All right, 73. QRZ, anyone, anywhere, November 9, Delta Delta. CQ calling CQ, CQ calling CQ, CQ40, CQ40, CQ40 meter, CQ calling CQ, CQ calling CQ. This is November 9, Delta Delta, November 9, Delta Delta, CQ.
November 9 Delta, Kilo Fox 5 Victor Bravo Lima.
The Kilo Fox 5 again?
Give me your direction so I can try to find you.
The call is November 9 Delta, November 9 Delta, and we're transmitting on 7.191.0, over.
Okay, I need your location so I can find the intent for you.
Okay, we're in Atlanta, Georgia, over.
Stand by one. November 9 Delta, Kilo Fox 5 Victor Bravo Lima.
Okay, Kilo Fox 5 Victor Bravo Lima, very good signal. You're about 10 to 20 over here into Atlanta, Georgia. You've got a wonderful signal. We'll send it back to you and see how you're copying us. Kilo Fox 5 Victor Bravo Lima, November 9 Delta.
Delta, you're down to 5-7 here in north central Texas. I'm about 85 miles west-north of Fort Worth and 60 miles due south of Wichita Falls. We're in the dry country right now.
Well, very good. Yeah, we're just sitting here playing radio tonight, and we actually have our YouTube live feed on right now, so if you wanted to see what you sound like, you could run out there and listen to this QSO live, or you always save it, and you can go back and hear yourself later tonight to see what you sound like. But you're doing well, 10 to 20 over. We're running a FlexRadio 6600 into a G5 RV with a 200 and almost 300 watts out of a Meritron amplifier. Getting tongue-tied here, over.
Affirmative. I'm running a Yazoo 950, 95 watts. Microphone is Audio Technica 2035 condenser mic. The antenna is a Mosley 33 TA with a 40-meter kit, and it's sitting at 110 feet off the ground, pointing in your direction.
Well, that Mosley is doing a fine job. For no more power than you're putting out, to have a signal like that is doing great. So that Mosley at 110 feet is certainly serving you well. And the old Yazoo is doing very good. We used to own one of those, I guess not too long ago. I guess I probably got rid of it in 2012 or so, but had a lot of the different Yazoos over the years and really enjoyed them. Back to you, KF5 VBL NN9DD.
Name here is Jerry, Julian Echo Romeo Yankee. Who are you talking to on that end?
Name here is Mike, Mexico India Kilowatt Echo. Mike, over.
Good to talk to you. Have y'all dried out down there any yet?
We've had a couple of days in a row where the rain has been, nothing more than a spit here and a spit there. So, it's starting to dry out, but we have had just a ton of rain here in the spring and the most of the summer. It, if I didn't know better, I'd say we're turning into a rainforest, over.
Well, I'll trade you a little dry weather for some of that moisture. We've had less than an inch here in the last 90 days.
I can almost say I've had it in more than an inch in the last 24 to 48 hours.
Mike, good to talk to you, and 7-3's your way, and y'all stay safe and stay out of this mess that's going around. Kilo Fox 5 Victor Bravo Lima, clear with November 9 Delta. 73.
73 is Jerry, and have a great night, and keep up the good work there with the big beam and the 950. 73 KF5 VBL November 9 Delta. QRZ, anyone, anywhere.
Kilowatt Fox 5 Oscar Whiskey Hotel.
Oscar Whiskey Hotel, Kilo Fox 5, Oscar Whiskey Hotel, November 9, Delta Delta. How are you doing tonight, Matt? Name here is Mike. We're located in Atlanta, Georgia, and you got a pretty good signal. I'll give you a better reading on the over.
Doing just fine, Mike. Just got on the radio this evening, and I was just seeing how the bands were looking and stuff. I'm a fairly new extra class fan, so a lot of the KCF stuff is new to me. But just enjoying it. Nothing special. Can't complain. It's a really good hobby and something I wanted to do for a long time. So, let me know how you read me and stuff. November 9 Delta Delta, KF5OWH. Back to you.
KF5OWH, November 9 Delta Delta, returning. Fine business. Yeah, no, you originally started out 5.9 plus a little bit, and as that last exchange went on, you dropped down to about a 7. But there's just a lot of QSB, so you could be a 20 over when you come back the next time. Hopefully not the other direction, but the band is just kind of squirrely tonight. But you were running 5.9 plus about 10 on the first part of that Q, so very strong signal here into Atlanta. We're running a FlexRadio 6600, a G5RV, 102-foot long, and about 300 watts from an Ameritron amplifier. Back to you, Matt. KF5OWH NN9DD.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I'm on my end. I am running a Yaesu 450D. I'm running about 20 watts right now. I don't have an amp, and I've got a Radio Wave DX40 off-center fed dipole up about 30 foot in the air. Not optimal, but best I could do. And it'll tune on 40 without an external tuner. It'll tune on 20 with a MFJ 949E, but I cannot get 10 or 60 out of the thing for nothing. So I work 40 and 20 a lot for right now, but it served me well and made a lot of contacts. This last weekend, my goodness, was busy with all the contesters. I didn't do the contest, but I guess was their contacts and stuff. So still a good time. But yeah, I'm just really enjoying it. I kind of would like some advice, if you don't mind. What would you say? Have you heard anything good about the ham stick from MFJ? Do you have any experience with that? NN9 Delta Delta KF5OWH. Back to you.
KF5OWH, November 9 Delta Delta, returning. Yeah, I guess, I think you're better off with the wire antenna, a dipole, a G5RV, the Carolina Windham, the off-center fed like you have right now, than you are with a ham stick. They're just not as big antenna. They're a compromise antenna. They do well in the situations that they're really designed for, which are predominantly mobile type operations or trailer type operations. I think for doing what you're doing, you're better off with, an antenna that you can get up in the trees. And like you said, you already know, get it up as, relatively speaking, as high as you can. For 40 meters, if you can get it up 50 feet, you're going to put out a heck of a signal and do a good job. So I think you're better off with a wire than you are with a vertical. One of the best verticals I ever had was I can't think of the name of it. I gave it to somebody else several years ago. They were a new ham and trying to get in and get on the air in an apartment, and that's when I bought it, when I was operating out of an apartment in Kentucky, and made hundreds of contacts on it all over the world. But what was Outbacker? It was an Outbacker Perth Plus was the name of it. I'm not even sure if that company's in business anymore, but it was an Outbacker Perth Plus, and it was a fantastic vertical. And I would highly recommend it if that's the way you have to go. But having a dipole up is going to do you much, much better, whether it's a G5RV, an off-center fed, any of those we should do better than a compromised small vertical. Over.
Roger. Yeah, no, I agree. It's just what's frustrating me is I want to see those kids just to listen and try to get exposed to it. Like I said, there's a 20 and 40, and I don't know, I'm going to go back and look at the instructions and see if I missed sure I probably did. But it's an embedded G configuration, so it's still pretty good. I mean, I worked California this weekend, and I worked Washington, and, in the southeast, and elsewhere, but I'm really happy with it. It's working very well. Flex 6600, so you got about 55 foot up in the air on that G5RV. I'd like to say it was 35 or 80 meters. I heard those particularly the state of Arkansas around someday. So kind of curious with that G5RV, November 9 Delta KF50WH, back to you.
KF50WH, November 9 Delta returning. Yeah, there's a whole ton of G5RVs out there that are made to do different things. There's a 204 foot version, which I'm looking at trying to get up on my lot. I've got plenty of room for it. It's just finding a clear spot, 200 foot long, that don't have trees hanging all over it, so that I can get it between two trees and get it up at a reasonable height, because I'd want to get that one at least as high as the one I got right now. But yeah, the G5RV, the one I have is 102 foot long. It's probably bigger than most people can fit on a lot, but it might not be if you go diagonally. And it tunes with the antenna tuner in the radio. I can hit all bands 80 through 6 meters. And there's with my antenna tuner, I've got a Palstar. I had to look for a second. A Palstar A2K manual tuner, and I could literally tune an armchair if I needed to make that thing work. But the Palstar, or the radio antenna, I can tune all bands 80 through 6 with the G5RV. And they have a mini or a shortened version of a G5RV, which covers 40 through 6. And it might even come up to 80, and you probably can get that to tune with your radio tuner, or definitely with your external tuner. What are you using for an external tuner? Over.
Yeah, my external tuner, I got a MFJ 949 Echo. To the pass-through and bypass it altogether. But I cannot get the tune on 10, nor can I get the tune on 6. And, I'd rather start more that's what I went out there and done a whole bunch of measurements on the height of where the antenna terminates, and my support, if you will, the insulator is actually wired. Obviously not electrically connected, but I just wound up using the wire, and I'm sure that doesn't help things either. But it was kind of a rush to get it up to the excitement of HF radio. So I'm sure there's some improvements that can be made. Is my point. That's huge.
Yeah, with that 949 Echo, you should be able to. Sometimes with antennas and tuning them, it's a bit of a science. You got to just spin all the knobs and, put out a 10 watts or something and spin the knobs for 30 seconds at a time to stumble across something. If you got the manual usually gives you a good starting point for each band, but you got to just tune around and find the sweet spot, especially on these longer wire antennas. Like I had to fiddle around with mine for quite a while to find, all the spots, and then I just write them down so I know where the number and the letter need to be depending on your tuner. But 10 could be a challenge because I have trouble with that sometimes. But 15 is a resonant frequency to 40, so you should be able to tune that thing on 15. There's not a lot of activity on 10 and 15 right now, but there will be. It's this upstart of the cycle, so there will be. But you should be able to tune 15 for sure. You might just need to fiddle around with it long enough. KF5, Oscar Whiskey Hotel. You still with me? November 9, Delta Delta.
Yeah, I am. I'm still here. The other thing is, if I look at when I looked at the instructions at the top of the mast, and I'm in a zip loop and but they had kind of this, it's probably not cryptic to a seasoned hand, but they had a thing about, face pills around the coffee can, and like I guess a common nose choke is my guess. That's my guess. But I don't know if you would do that at the frequency where the antenna comes out high, or if they want you to do it at the top of the antenna. I didn't really understand that, and I tried to call them. So they're out of Missouri, and, I think they're a smaller company. They're hard to get on the phone, but yeah, I've still got some ciphering to do. I mean, it's working for now. It's burning up my radio. I got no SWR 40, which is my favorite band, really, because when I get home at work and get home from work, doing stuff. So, we'll see. But, I got a little bit of work on my end to do, I think, to make it work as well. But I've enjoyed the heck out of the 20 meters and and the 40 meters, so that's a lot of fun. But, just want to be ready to get on the other band. But, I forgot a lot of those projects I want to do too, so it's, kind of just what you're going to do. Back to you.
Yeah, very good. KF50HW, November 9, Delta Delta returning. Yeah, no, I certainly understand it. I mean, I remember I used to spend a lot of time tearing things apart and putting them back together and trying to figure out a better way when I was a younger ham. I've been ham for almost 40 years now. I got licensed back in high school back in the mid or early 80s. So it's been almost 40 years or 40 years this year, actually, I think. But, my guess is what they're telling you by having you go around a coffee can 8 times is they're creating a choke balun, which is to keep RF out of the shack for all intensive purposes. It keeps the RF from coming back into the shack and causing problems in the shack. A good ground will kind of do the same thing. I would say make sure your radio is grounded well, meaning you got one of those copper ground pipes driven into the ground outside of your shack, and a thick piece of copper wire coming back and grounding the radio and or antenna tuner if it's requiring that, so that you cut any ground loops out, and you'll be amazed how much noise that takes out of the equation if there's a problem. And then the RF loop, you don't necessarily need a coffee can. You can just take and spin the coax 5 or 6, 7 times around, and in a small loop right at the bottom of outside of the window where it goes in the house. You want to do that as close to the house as you can, and before you go in the house, because that choke balun will, in theory, keep the current off the outside of the coax and stop the RF from coming in the shack. So what I do is, twist it 7, 8, 9 times and zip tie it together tight so that loop, RF loop, is sitting outside of the window on the ground, so it's not creating strain on the connector. but as close to the house as I can so that you don't have any more random lengths of wire that kind of act like an antenna and pick up RF. So that's kind of the theory behind that. KF5OWH NN9DD.
Yeah, I've got my radio, my power supply grounded. That'd be pretty good. I've got such a haze, and I've got such a crappy little, ground terminator here inside the shaft, right before it goes outside, that I think the ground for the antenna tuner has come loose, so I can work on that this weekend, actually, now I've got some time, and release me the radio. But yeah, no, that makes sense. And then, yeah, putting the loose in it, I could have the loose in there. Took them out because I thought, well, maybe that's why I want to, well, come to find out, I had my angle on the dipole wrong, the separation between the two wires. So it was it's been a whole mess. But that's cool. You got your license in high school. I did the same thing, and then it lapsed, and then I got it back in 2012, but I haven't got back into it since about the last 3 months. So, but I'm a power engineer, not a communications engineer, but it's a great hobby, and I'm happy to have it, and happy to get to speak to people that know more like yourself and give good advice. So, how you like that Flex 5600? I've heard a lot of good things about them. November 9 Delta Delta KF5OWH. Back to you.
November 9 Delta Delta returning. It's a great radio. I used to have be a Yaesu guy myself and use a lot of Yaesu equipment. I've had the 950, the 3000, the 897, the 817, a 920. I don't know, a bunch more. I originally started with an old Heathkit HW101, which is an old tube radio from the late 70s, early 80s. And I still have it. I'll put it on the air every now and then just to make sure it works. And if it acts up, I send it off to a guy in Michigan, and he kind of tunes it up and fixes it for me and sends it back. And I think we're getting ready to do that again because it's just getting old and got some leaky caps and stuff in it. So we'll probably do that. But, the Yaesu line is good, and I love the Flex. I got into it by accident, really. I was using my FTDX 3000 for a RIDI contest one weekend, and was using the amplifier at the same time, and put out apparently too much power or bad SWR, and it shot back down the line and took out a couple of the finals in the radio, so it wasn't putting out very much power. So I sent it back to California to get fixed, and it was gone almost a month. So while it was away, I couldn't stand not being on the air. So I picked up a buddy of mine was selling a 3000, a Flex 3000, one of the older Flexes. And I got into that, and I was like, oh, man, this is great. Just being able to see everything that was going on around you. They heard very, very well. They transmitted very well. So I was in love with it. And when I got the 3000 Flex or the 3000 Yaesu back, I sold both 3000s, and that equals 6,000. I had to kick in quite a bit more money, maybe a third of the price of the radio, but I had 2/3 of it covered. So, it was affordable to me at that time because of the stuff I was selling. So, we picked up the Flex 6000, and I've owned a 6000 for, I guess, the last almost 7-8 years since it came out, the 6000 series, and I love it. It's a great radio. It hears well, transmits well, and it's just fun to look at and play with. So it'll probably be where I stay until somebody comes along with something else I just can't live without. But for right now and the last 8-10 years, this has been it. Over.
Roger, I catch you on that one. yeah, I want to get a backup radio and kind of a mobile, not mobile for the truck, but mobile for like POTA or taking my little girl out and going and, people say play radio. I say operate radio, but, that's just me. Go out in the field and set up a bigger antenna and stuff and all that. But that's what I'm saying is I want to get something like that. And I think those Yaesu makes some smaller rigs that are nice. And I'm not against the software-defined radio. I just don't understand it enough yet. And I think at my price point, I'm going to stick with there's really good things about it. So if I can get them to the other guys.
Yeah, no, I totally get it, and it's get good at one thing before you move on to the next. But yeah, I think there's 891. I used to run the 897 for that type of activity, both the 897 and the 817. The 817 was a 6 meter through 180. It was a 5-watt QRP radio, and it was a very, very good radio for going transmit because it had a battery pack in it, so you could go out and transmit, and you got a couple of hours out of the battery. So for doing parks on the air or something like that, it worked great. The 897 was the same basic concept, except it had 2 meters and 440 on it. Actually, both of those radios had 2 meters and 440 on them. I liked that because I could use them for repeater work. I also used them for chasing satellites. There's a bunch of satellites up there that you can bounce signals off of and talk to people all around the country. And if you catch them at the right spot and get a little bit lucky, you can talk to different countries on 2 meters by bouncing it off the satellite. So that's always fun. I used to do that. Don't do it so much anymore, but it's still out there and stuff. And that radio puts out 20 watts. Now those are both older radios. Same basic vintage as that 450 you're running, except I think they still make the 450. Both of the 897 and the 817 have gone out of production. You'd have to pick up the newer model, which I think is the 818 and the 891 or something like that, I think is what they're calling the 897's replacement. Those are both good radios. And then there's one of the 7300 from ICOM. It doesn't have internal batteries, but it's not a very big radio, and it just works. And it's, relatively speaking, it's reasonably priced, and it's not a backup radio. It's a real radio. And it's only, I think you can buy them right now for about $999 or $989 with the discounts and stuff. And, a little more than a 450, but very, very, very good radio. Over.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's good to know. I will definitely keep that in mind. That's the fun about this, right? Is that there's always a new tool to win and a new project to do. It just depends if you have the money or not. If I got the money, I'm a new toy. If I don't, I'll do a new project to save me some money. But Mike, it's been a pleasure. Good to speak with you. But I think I'm going to say goodbye here. I'm getting ready to just see if this little one's going to go to bed, and I may come back in and spin around the dial a little bit, or I may get ready for bed myself. So it's been a pleasure, sir. November 9 Delta Delta from Kilo Fox 5, Oscar Whiskey Hotel 73, sir. Hope to catch you again. And as I said, just for your log, you wear I'll call you a 5-9 if you fill out your log for that extent. I'll try to do that on my end.
All righty. Very good, Matt. Thank you very much. And have fun. Enjoy the hobby. Welcome back, I guess, to it. And, I've had a lot of years of fun with it, and helps relieve stress and just, kind of fun to play around with. So have a good night and a good week, and stay safe. Kilo Fox 5, Oscar Whiskey Hotel, November 9, Delta 73.
Whiskey Zero, Mike. Papa Mike.
The Papa Mike.
Whiskey Zero, Mike. Papa Mike.
Whiskey Zero, Mike, Papa Mike. How are you this evening, John? Name here is Mike. We're located just south of Atlanta, Georgia, in the city of Stockbridge. And you've got a good signal this evening. I'll give you a better reading on the over. The other gentleman was kind of low in the noise, so I had some filters turned on for him, turn them off for you, and it'll give me a better reading for you. Over.
Well, thank you. Good evening, Mike. This is an experiment. You are the second key show on the new Flex 6400 that they delivered to the house today. And so I don't at all know how to set it up, and I have not integrated it with the amplifier yet. So I just found a setting to tell it that I was using this microphone by name, so I hope it sounds okay.
Sounds really good. Give me just a little bit of chatter, and I'll let you hear how you sound. We're running a 6600, so we can probably help you with some things if you want. But go ahead and do it. I'll do a quick recording.
All right, thank you. November 9, Delta in beautiful Atlanta. I like that place. This is Whiskey Zero, Mike, Papa Mike, on the new 6400. Over.
All right, here you go. You faded just a little bit in the middle, but you're 5.9 plus about 10, and then you faded down to about a 7, but you came back up. So here's what you sound like.
All right, thank you. November 9, Delta in beautiful Atlanta. I like that place. This is Whiskey Zero, Mike, Papa Mike, on the new 6400. Over.
There you go. So that's what you sound like. I think your audio sounds really good. For your signal strength, I think you could probably get a little bit more punch. I don't know if you've EQ'd anything, or you're probably just using the default settings on it. And maybe we need to look at the mic gain and make sure it's set properly. But yeah, it's good. Good sounding audio. Now we just got to work on the punch.
Okay, well, there's a mic setting here. I don't know if that's the process. I'm playing with the mic setting. No, the mic setting is all the way up, and I think it's way too high. Well, I'm back off on it a little bit. There we go. And W0, I don't know. I think it's all she got there.
Okay, the mic gain right there, it's got balance on one side and a drop down, and well, mine says BAL on a 6400. You probably just say mic, M-I-C there, and then it's got ACC on the other side. That needs to be set. You'll see the meter right above it that says level. You want that bar to just go right to the red. That's when your signal is set up to basically perfect. You're going to get the most punch out of it you can without having any distortion or artifacts or anything like that. So you want to use that slider to get that yellow bar all the way up to the red. Over.
Okay, I got it. We'll switch it up a little bit here. And but I'm always cautioned that makes me a little nervous. I'm bumping into the 0. I think that's dB out regulated at. But anyway, so there it is. I need to get it hooked up so I can run it through the amplifier. Over.
Well, that'll definitely help with the punch as well. And then right below that one is the processor. It's got normal, DX, and DX plus. You really want to, if you're working a pile up, you can slide it over to DX, and it doesn't do too much to your signal. DX plus really kind of makes you sound raspy. Normal is where you want to run it, but turn the processor on, and that will also give you just a little bit more punch. So hit that PROC button and turn it blue, and that'll bring up your punch just a little bit.
All right, so the processing is on. It's not normal. I just pulled it up to DX.
Yeah, DX will give you, they claim it gives you about an extra 2 or 3 dB, but it does make your signal a little bit less desirable, but it will get you through a pile up a little easier. So when you're just doing normal, just talk in the normal state, but if you're in a pile up and want to get through it, hit the DX, and it will, they claim it gives you an extra dB or 2.
All right, well, I'll run it that way for now, and maybe I'm sitting late tonight. I don't want to make any mistakes. I got it running. And I think I have the right cables to hook it up. I've got an SPE Expert CK, but I need the cable to tell the CK to turn on.
Yeah, no, I just use an Ameritron amplifier on mine, and it's got a simple USB interface that I just have it set up into the back of the radio. There's a USB cable, and that goes to a... how do I have that hooked up? It's a USB cable to a DB9 interface, and then that runs back into the amplifier, to a little amplifier box that I have, that ARI 500 for my interface between my amplifier and my radio, and that controls kind of everything. But it works really well. It gets the band data from the Flex, and there's some things over under settings to get your amp running. You'll want to make sure you turn on, there's relay 1, 2, and 3 on the back of your radio, and in settings under radio setup, under TX, I think it is, there's going to be a screen. Is it under TX? No, it's under... it's not even there anymore. It is on the new form. Under settings, you go to TX band settings, and you'll want to turn RCA TX1, TX2, TX3, whichever one you want to transmit on. There's a check mark that's needed for every band that you want that amplifier to use. So make sure you turn that on, or you'll spend a long time beating your head against the wall figuring out why it won't work. And it never will until you do that. Over.
Okay. Like I said, I think I'm going to wait until in the morning when I'm fresh. I kind of forced myself to get it set up tonight and double check everything because I'm a little tired. And but I'm real pleased. The recovered audio is really nice, which I thought it would be. And right now, I've only got the hand mic that came with it. I need to invest in a microphone. Any suggestions?
Well, I use the PR781 with mine, but my 6600 has a balanced input. I think yours just has the regular 1/4 or 1/8" adapter. But you know what? They make an 1/8" adapter that goes to a 3-pin. So I'm using a PR781, and it does very, very well. It plays well. It gives me the lows I'm looking for because I have a low voice, but it also puts out a pretty punchy signal that you can EQ up. There's actually a setting built into the radio for the PR781 that works very well. You don't really have to change it a whole bunch. And a lot of people use the 781. A lot of people are using just the plain PR40 too, but I think the 781 is probably the most used one for the Flexes. Over.
All right, well, we'll come to that. Right now, the hand mic is good. I got other things to do, but we will pick something out. And yep, looking real nice. I was running it through the speakers, and I think this radio has the audio is nice enough coming through a decent set of computer speakers that I can listen to it without the headset. As an experiment, right now I'm running it through the computer and listening to the computer audio with a headset, but we've got lots of options.
Yeah, no, it can work either way. Right now I'm running it just straight up from the radio. I keep my radio over in a rack on the other side of the room, and then I got some workstations around here. I'm set up to do some contesting from here. So we've got some workstations around the room that work, and the radios are all over in a rack. So I just run a wire from the radios over to each workstation so that you can plug into each radio and get your audio directly from the radio. Or you can just hit the blue PC audio button like you're doing right now and pump your audio right through your monitor or into your headphones on your computer, whichever. Both work pretty good. There's a few extra milliseconds of lag time with the computer, but in a normal situation and even contesting, it's no big deal. It's, you're talking a couple thousandths of a second or even a tenth of a second. It's not going to change anybody's life. All right, well, we'll let you go, John, but I wanted to just give you a quick rundown. It's a beautiful radio. It's awesome, and if you ever need anything, I'm good on QRZ. Look me up, and we'll help get you on the air. Back to you.
All right. So thank you, Mike. Yeah, I just pulled up your picture from QRZ of your operating position there. It's quite nice. So I'll let you go. Thank you for the conversation. Number 224 6400. I think I'm going to enjoy this. November 9, Delta. Good evening. W0 MPM.
All right, 73s, John, and have a good night and enjoy your radio. I've never looked back to the old big box radios. This is the way of the future. W0 MPM in Virginia. This is November 9, Delta. 73, John.
73.
QRZ, anyone, anywhere. November 9, Delta. Norway 9, Denmark, anyone, anywhere. CQ40 meters, CQ40 meter, CQ calling CQ. This is November 9, Delta, November 9, Denmark, Norway 9, Delta, November 9, Denmark, calling CQ. CQ calling CQ, November 9, Delta, November 9, Delta, Norway 9, Denmark, calling CQ. CQ40 meters, this is November 9, Delta, November 9, Delta, calling CQ and listening, anyone, anywhere.
November 2, Radio America, good evening.
November 2, Radio America, very nice signal, Eric. I'll give you a better reading on the over, but it sounds all a 5.9 and probably a little heavier than that. Name here is Mike, Mexico, India, Kilowatt Echo, and we're about 25 miles south of Atlanta, Georgia, down here in Stockbridge, Georgia. Back to you, N2RRA, November 9, Delta.
Okay, very good. November 9, Delta. Very good. You're also 5 and 9. Just looking at the dipole just a little bit. Not sure if it's more in the Georgia direction. If I get the broadside of the antenna in your direction. But anyway, nonetheless, we're hearing each other, I think, fairly well. A good 5 and 9, I think. The name is Eric. There's an Echo Romeo India Charlie. We're located here in Rockland County, New York. We're about 30 or so miles north of New York City, maybe slightly northwest across the Hudson here. And I was going to go QRT, and I heard this nice signal coming into New York. I heard you calling CQ, and I call CQ all the time, and I thought that it'd be nice to know that you're being heard, and someone should answer your CQ call.